Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are looking at the NBA Prizepicks plays for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Let's go ahead and get into it. We'll be using OddsJam to help us make some suggestions. I'll introduce you guys to OddsJam if you haven't heard of it, and I'll show you how it works. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. As always, if you enjoy the videos, appreciate it for the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't got signed up yet on Prizepicks, you can use my code PROCESS, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. You can check out the website and Twitter down below to stay more up to date. So, if you haven't heard of OddsJam, it's a very interactive and very user-friendly tool to help you make your sports bets. I know as betting gets more and more popular, a lot more people will be using tools like this. They have bet trackers to track your bets, and that is free right now. You're going to be wanting to compare the odds across various sports books because every cent counts. I'd say minus 115, minus 110. You always got to take the better advantage. Take the better odds for yourself, and it'll always make a difference in the long run. So they make it easy for you by having all the sports books outlined here. You can add your own sports books to help you. And if you look here, you got a bunch of different props to pick from. Whatever props you're looking at, plug them in. If you like to make PRA props for NBA, if you like to make just player points props, you can put that in. We'll be making some PRA props in the Prizepicks, so I'm stuck on this screen right now. But they have other calculators to help you, expected value, free bet conversion calculators. They got arbitrage calculators, which is just betting both sides if it's possible, just to make profit, just to guarantee profit. And got all the sports that you're going to be picking from. So I have a link down below in the description. You can try it out for free for 7 days. And if you like it, definitely stick around. If not, you can always cancel before your 7 days are over and you won't be charged. So over on Prizepicks, the first one that I want to go ahead and put in here. Now, with last game was a blowout, and so we didn't get a lot of these overs to hit, just because these guys didn't really play the fourth quarter much. Steph Curry went off, and the Warriors did what they usually do in the third quarter, which is just dominate their opponent, and didn't lead to much action in the fourth for the starters. But the first prop that I like to take the over on is going to be over 17.5 PRA for Derrick White. He's been balling as of late, ever since he became a new dad. It seems like he's just really playing well. Maybe he was a little bit stressed out about that. Who knows? But he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. He was very poor, earlier in the postseason, but it seems like he's a very streaky player. And right now he's on one of the hottest streaks since he's been a Celtic, and I want to take advantage of it. He got 18, didn't play very much minutes in the second half last game, as a lot of their main guys didn't. Before that, he put up 25 in Game 1, was doing well in the Miami series as well. If we look on OddsJam for Derrick White here, the over 17.5 is the main line is at 18.5, so we're getting about a point difference there. And a lot of these sportsbooks right now, the over is juiced minus 148 on Barstool. You're looking at minus 145 on DraftKings. The under is the underdog, and it makes sense. They're at home. Celtics are right where they want to be. I mean, splitting in Golden State the first two games they're definitely happy with that outcome. And White's playing more minutes now that Robert Williams, they said he's limited to about 20-25, and there's just no reason to play Robert Williams a lot of minutes alongside Horford in the series. You're probably looking at 20-25 minutes max between him and Looney is probably going to be right around there. Like, those guys started the first and third quarters, and they didn't see much run at all in the second quarter. So definitely Derrick White's a guy that we can look to take advantage of. Marcus Smart's been kind of struggling this series, and he's not doing a good job stopping Curry either. First game was solid, but last game just very poor. Having below 10 is very bad for a guy like Marcus Smart. He definitely looks to be able to bounce back here, but White's been shooting the ball a lot better, so I have a little bit more confidence, and he does handle the ball at times when he comes into the game. So that's the first over we're going to be looking at. I'm going to switch over to first half fantasy, because there's one guy here that's been absolutely crushing all postseason first half fantasy. If you've been playing him, then you're probably going to continue to do so. And that guy is Steph Curry. His first half fantasy is at 22. Back-to-back games in the series where he's hit that over 30. And he comes out of the gates firing. He's playing great right now. And Klay Thompson's been struggling out of the gates, so Curry's kind of taking more shots, and we know he can get you assists, rebounds. He's playing like the whole first quarter, so he just has a lot of opportunities to rack up his fantasy. He's going to come in pretty early in the second quarter too. You expect just with it being game 3, probably like 7 minutes or 8 minutes into the second quarter, or 4 minutes into the second quarter, probably be right back in there. So 19, 20 minutes first half out of Steph Curry with how many fantasy points he typically averages. 22 seems like a bargain. So that's the second prop we're going to go with. Going back over to the regular full game lines. Next one we're going to consider is going to be Jayson Tatum. And I'm taking his 39.5 PRA. I think you can take his fantasy score as well if you wanted to. But Tatum sometimes will turn the ball over a little bit. Like if you look at his turnovers. So far this series, he has 6 total. 4 last game wasn't great. He can get you some defensive stats as well. So you can look at his fantasy if you wanted to at 44. Similar to his PRA. But I expect Tatum to have a very big game. I don't mind either one, but I'm sticking with the PRA. Just in case he does turn the ball over a little bit, you're not gonna really, he's not gonna lose points for that. And if he does go off from 3-point land, you're not getting extra points from that via fantasy with Prizepicks scoring. So I do like his 39.5 PRA. He's both props. He's went 3 out of 5, and last 2 the ones he missed. He was on track to hit last game. He had a great first half, and then the blowout really messed his chance of hitting. Didn't play much in the fourth. But if we look over on OddsJam, we can plug in Tatum here, and we can see that the main line right now is at 40.5. The over 39 is the favored in terms of the sports books. You're looking at minus 120 on BetMGM as being the best value here. Most of the other ones are over 120, 125 on DraftKings. So definitely at home, Jayson Tatum. He is always a lock to bounce back after a poor performance. Game 1, bad performance. He knew he was going to bounce back. Game 2, he definitely did. He's done that in all the previous series. And he's only typically had one poor game shooting-wise in each of the other series that he has played this postseason. So I'm not expecting him to have a poor game in this one. So look at Derrick White, Steph Curry, Jayson Tatum. And then the last one we're going to be looking at is going to be a fantasy prop. And I'm going right back to Andrew Wiggins here at 29. Didn't have a good shooting performance. I made a couple of threes, got a couple of easy looks at the basket, but really wasn't in rhythm the whole game. Started off like one of 7. I think it might have been like 2 of 7 or 2 of 8 shooting to start. So typically he's a guy that will feed off of some rhythm. We've seen him score like 10 points early in the game in the first quarter at times in the postseason, once in the previous series. And he's a guy that will get you defensive stats as well, so I feel a lot better about taking his fantasy. His PRA is pretty low too at like 23.5, but his fantasy can easily get there as well if he has some more blocks. Just like Looney's fantasy keeps going down. He's at 22. The minutes are definitely a concern with him, but if he continues to rack up blocks and steals at his rate, he's going to be clearing 22 fantasy points easily. And I don't think that they will play Iguodala, so I think like now that Gary Payton is back, and they didn't even play Iguodala last game. He was out with like a knee issue. I don't expect them to go that deep, so expect Iggy to be on the bench. Their bench will probably consist of Poole, definitely Payton, and then you'll probably see maybe like Bielitsa get a couple minutes or something like that. But I think other props that we could consider would be Looney at over 22, Smart at 28 if you're feeling up. I'm not sure if I would play both Smart and Derrick White in the same, because they typically haven't had they both haven't had great games together, except for a few times this series. Like sometimes Derrick White will take away production from Smart if he's making shots and handling the ball a little bit. And then I don't mind Derrick White over 22 fantasy, but I like his PRA a little bit better at 17.5. Both fantasy scores look solid, but I'm taking the first half instead, the full line for Steph Curry. He's just the first half, he's hit that in all 5 games, or his last 5 games. The full game, he's hit that in 3 of 5. So just based on the odds and based on how quickly he likes to get out of the gate, take that. And there's not really anybody that I'm looking at too much and taking just the over on the points. Like, they kind of did a good job pricing. Maybe you can make a case for like the over on Looney, or maybe you can make a case for the over on a guy like Derrick White, but I like his PRA better. And then instead of Tatum over 27.5, I'd rather just take his PRA or fantasy. And then same thing with Curry. I'd rather just take his fantasy first half at 22. Assist, they kind of priced everybody where they should be. Don't have much confidence taking the over on any of these. Like maybe I would take the under on Draymond at 6 assists. We've seen him usually average a little bit less than that this postseason. Rebounding props this year has been a lot more higher scoring than what the Boston Celtics were used to in their previous matchups against the last series against Miami. So we're seeing some less rebounding opportunities. And the totals are a lot higher now. Like Jaylen Brown, we're getting him at like 5 and 5.5. In the Miami series, at 6.5. It's a pretty big number for both him and Tatum. So that's pretty much it. I'm sticking with these four. Over 17.5 PRA on Derrick White. Over 22 fantasy first half for Steph Curry. 39.5 PRA for Jayson Tatum and 29 fantasy for Wiggins. You can be sure to check out OddsJam if you wanted to. You can hit the link in the description. Best of luck today. Hope you guys make some money, and I will see you all next time.